I have returned, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for our final match of the day. It's NVMI facing off against Hellraisers. So it should be a fantastic match. Both teams starting off 0-1 in Starladder Season 10 group play, but plenty of matches to recover. 15 total games each team will get to play. With that being said, I'm LD, your host of Beyond the Summit. I am joined here today remotely by Blaze. Blaze, how's it blazing?
It's going pretty well, man. I am so pumped for these two drafters and what they have to bring to the table. Art Style versus Goblack going head to head. We got Scandal on the roster for MVMI now. For anybody who nerds out about drafting and like the real, I don't even know how to express it, like the extra layers to it, the dream within a dream, the idea within an idea, the chess match that goes on between these two guys. These are the guys that you look to have really the great strategies behind them and these innovative tactics. We've seen Goblack go with Warlock, Drow, Visage, various combos trying to make some strats work. They did have a member that was recently replaced. Afo Ninja didn't seem to perform too well in the games that I was casting, and now replaced by Scandal, who we all know and love.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see their new roster in action, and that's a big name to pick up. The one issue with Scandal is he's had trouble finding a home ever since that old Empire team that you mentioned. I mean, even back when they had Funnick, they were a real powerhouse, but he's kind of drifted for a bit. He was with PR, and from what I heard, the rumors were that he didn't really want to practice very much. Not 100% sure if that's true, but that was the rumor for whatever it's worth, and I mean, obviously, we saw with Navi that you just can't get away with it anymore. Just relying on individual skill isn't good enough. Everybody at the top has it, and the teams that are winning are generally the teams that are putting a lot of time in. The Chinese teams did it, Cloud9 did it, EG did it. Those are the teams that did best at TI4, and I imagine we're going to see that moving forward. So that's my only reservation about Scandal is he going to fit in with the team? But as an individual talent and a player, obviously he's fantastic and still a top tier one when he puts in the time. So draft's underway. We'll see how Razors go for a fairly common opening, which is this Skywrath into Void combo. But like you said, Godblack Dota never ceases to be interesting. Drow Ranger Warlock, boom, boom. Here we go.
Dude, this is the fourth time that I've seen him open with this exact duo of heroes. It seems so weird because prior to this, prior to like 2 weeks ago, there was exactly one game that had these combos even on the same team at all. And it was an auto loss. Like, it was really bad. So the fact that Godblack has now done this like 3 or 4 times in a row, from what I've seen, it's just so interesting. The Visage isn't going to be on the table. That maybe they were worried about a Drow Visage opener and then the Warlock later. No matter the case, he really loves to take the Warlock to the mid, run the Drow in the safe lane solo, and get a 5 ranged lineup. 5 ranged heroes, try to dominate the laning phase, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, and I do like the Warlock pick when you're up against a hero like Void. If he gets that early farm, he generally gets pretty tanky, and the other thing is he gives you great counter initiation after the Chronosphere, or if he doesn't catch the Warlock even during it. So they get a Drow who can kite him and also be a nuisance, and going up against mass range heroes is really not where Void excels. He's much better if you have multiple melee heroes. You tend to clump in the Chrono more. You can't punish him as much when he's in there, but if they go 5 ranged heroes, or 3 or 4 at least, like you're mentioning, then I think they're gonna have a lot of answers for this Void. And Bane's another answer, and Feeble's fantastic. Grip and Sleep. This lineup is gonna be a nightmare for the Void.
Yeah, and MVMI have been practicing this quite a bit. The first time I saw it, they ran Drow Bane Disruptor, but I think that was mostly because they really felt they needed silences against the lineup. They also drafted Puck in that one, which has been banned out here. So maybe a little bit of flex. Maybe the Wind Ranger pick will come out for Godblack's fourth, but this is a lineup that he has been just working on and working on, trying to make his team play to perfection because he knows in the back of his mind that it actually has a lot of potential, and we've seen it. We've seen actually it take a couple wins, and at the very least turn some games very interestingly. It's certainly more fun than the same heroes game in and game out.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. I've seen the chat, on and off today, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's those same 10 heroes again. This is disgusting. Razor, Death Prophet, Void, Doom. I just want to kill myself." Well, guys, don't kill yourselves. But we're getting to see something a little different from Godblack, and it's refreshing. I'm still looking forward to that patch for sure. But whenever it does come, they now go Centaur, and I guess this puts our Void more into a safe lane farming position, or even potentially going mid. But I just don't see a great lane for him. I guess mid wouldn't be that bad yet. Warlock's not really the best hero to drive you out of the lane, especially with just how tanky Void is in the early levels. But I don't know. I mean, they just have heroes that aren't really going to excel against 4 ranged, Void and Centaur, especially early on.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. Like, how many times have you actually gone against Warlock 1v1 in the mid? It's not common, but it is frustrating as all get out to go up against. A melee hero in particular will always be hit by the fatal bonds, and that's a lot of damage to take. And then the last word, or shadow word, sorry, is very, very cost efficient as far as just applying the damage over time. So
Yeah,
I think they,
it's definitely annoying, and the harassment, if it doesn't kill you, will limit your farm. I don't think he'll be able to zone the Void out of lane fully by himself, but I guess it'll depend on, how much support, how many pool tangos he gets, if he goes for some early regen. Maybe they even send the Dazzle mid and dual lane against him, which would weaken their other lanes a bit. And this is assuming the Warlock does go mid. It could be a Wind Ranger there. I mean, in theory, Warlock can be a support hero. We really don't see it often. Normally, it's more of a core, but I am curious to see how they lane and execute this draft. On paper, it's very exciting.
yeah. So far, I've only seen the Wind Ranger go in the off lane, the Warlock mid, and then the rest go on the bottom lane. But it really depends if Hellraisers even want to try for something as far as an aggressive stance here. They do like to get Wind Ranger some decent farm because with the Drought Aura, her ultimate actually does a huge amount of damage, especially as she gets more points in it, maybe the Aghanim Scepter. But transitioning into that mid game is going to be their real thing that they're going to be looking towards because Drow Ranger hitting level 6 and 11, the marksmanship ramps up, everybody's damage goes up, and then they can really use the Warlock to great effect in initiating team fights and just controlling things. Now, as far as trying to survive through a Chrono plus a Mystic Flare combo, there's not many heroes that can do it. Warlock and Bane are probably some of the two tankiest ranged heroes. Maybe Phoenix is up there, but he's obviously not in Captain's mode. So those two plus Huskar are the only ones that come to mind as far as really durable ranged heroes. And they're
Oh
actually going
my.
to mix it up a bit. That's really cool. Seeing the Undying here, it isn't a ranged hero, but it is certainly one that can win out the lanes.
It's a beefcake, and you already see these two melee heroes great at zoning melees in general and just trading blows with them in the laning stage. Also gives them a bit of survivability, and now they do have Soul Rip, which if the Chrono Mystic Flare comes, maybe that's enough to keep a hero alive, and you got Warlock heal as well. If they can get a fast mech, there's a sleep as well to have that second of invulnerability. They have some answers if one of these heroes gets caught by the combo, but you're right. They're probably dying in most cases if they do get caught. But the thing is, Blaze, like, are you going to catch them? These heroes are all very long range, and they're not likely to be in the middle of your team unless you stampede your way in or time walk on top of them. But if NVMI, God, that name is just brutal. If they position themselves well, Hellraisers are going to have a really tough time initiating. And my even bigger concern is just once they start deathballing. Once they get, like you said, the level 11 Drow level 2 ultimate, or even before that, just with the level 1 ult and the rock, it's going to be hard to defend against that. And
Yeah.
where's the damage for Hellraisers outside of the Chronosphere Mystic Flare, which, first of all, requires Skywrath Mage to be level 6. He's not the fastest farming support or leveling support. And secondly, isn't always available. Like, I don't really see what they can do against the Death Ball when that combo's not up.
Yeah, very hard to be perfectly on point with that. The Sand King will certainly help out and
There
will,
you
I
go.
think, rotate the Skywrath into the mid lane.
But it's not
But
triple melee. And just, I'm worried about these lanes, man.
yeah, it's tough. The laning phase, I think, will be one of the harder points, and then we'll see when MVMI kind of collaborate to try to push down towers. Because again, a lot of right click, the tower should fall pretty quickly. The golem is also really good at taking them down, and so HR kind of gonna have to draw a line in the sand at some point. Sand King notwithstanding, he's gonna be farming up the Blink Dagger and trying to find an opening where he can kind of go for that counter engage. With Stampede, you actually might get a epicenter off pre-blink, but generally speaking, you're gonna rely on him just still farming away.
Yeah, and on that note, we'll introduce the teams, guys. Our final match of Day 6 for Starladder Europe Season number 10. We're about that 20% mark through the group stage, so plenty of games to come, and these teams both 0-1 looking for their first win here. Hellraisers on the dire side. We start with Art Style. Man, that is a blast from the past. He will be playing your Centaur War Runner. Yoki on the Skywrath Mage. Dubas the Sand King. You have Dread, one of the most famous streamers in the Russian community, for those who aren't familiar with him. Right up there with Dendy in terms of the viewership he brings in. And then Aloha Dance going to the top side as the Void. And then on NVMI, we've got Lil handling the Bane. That puts Illidan, who, well, didn't work out for him with VP, but has now found a new home on NVMI. Will be playing the Drow. Goblek, the Mastermind, who helped Navi at TI4, will be playing the Undying. Towards mid goes Scandal, the new addition, who apparently is permanent from what you mentioned, on the Warlock. And last but not least, DK Phobos, old school Russian player and good friend of Dendy's, will be heading top as the offlane Wind Ranger. So the lane's now set.
So it'll be an interesting matchup, in particular on the.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry?
I think you might be lagging
Maybe a little lag
bit,
there, but sure. On the mid lane, we're going to be seeing an interesting matchup as far as like kind of heal and damage output. Skywrath usually wins out the early exchange, blow for blow, between the two heroes because he does get to spam out Arcane Bolt and has a pretty large mana pool with a null tally. But Warlock did bring in a salve, and that's really important to get that early salve out to bring yourself right back up to full. We'll see Skywrath just kind of go at it when he gets the chance, but Yoku only has so much mana, and Scandal, he's going to have the heal, he's going to have plenty of HP regen.
We're not going to have time for that if they get their wish here. Hellraisers already smoked up, headed towards mid, and Scandal with the worst creep block is in a compromising position if he goes to CS, but he is not seeing these supports, and he is playing extremely safe. While bottom lane, NVMI are also making their go. Still the mid lane, there's no opening. They won't be able to kill off Artstyle, but they can harass him a bit. And Scandal, now the dive comes. Dubas, if he gets this Burrow Strike, this should be our first blood. It connects, the heal bomb follows it up, and oh, sorry guys, just realized it didn't have Dota 2 sound. We'll fix that now, but first blood going the way of Hellraisers, and this is the way to punish the Warlock. He's a really strong 1v1 hero. Once he gets 6, he's very difficult to deal with in team fights and any sort of engagement, really. But he is a very gankable hero early on, Blaze, and, well, they punish it here.
Yeah, most definitely. It's actually really hard to get in range of initiation with heroes like Dazzle and Sand King that really don't do anything until they're right on top of their target. But our DK Phobos is far enough forward that they might still be able to get something here. Even without the poison, the body blocks come through and the Burrow Strike will connect.
Oh, patience there from Dubas, waiting until the wind runs pop and then incinerated with the heal. And HR are just pulling this NVMI lineup apart. In fact, mid lane, Yoki's trying to go for another kill, but he's underestimated the tankiness of the Warlock. And that little bit of additional damage from Precision R perhaps making the difference. The tower shots finishing the job. And Scandal will survive and gets a much-needed retaliation kill after what looked to be a pretty poor start for NVMI.
Yeah,
Yoku's... Is there another dive? No, he's not going to be there.
No. He does have that concussive to try to set things up in general, but Scandal still has that heal going. It lasts a really long time, and as a result, it just gives him so much healing. But one important thing is, as we see more rotations head in towards the mid lane and towards the jungle, the Drow Ranger gets solo experience. She's already at level 3.
And Scandal goes down again. Yoki punishes him once more. Doesn't even have his boots or bottle yet. He's just doing it with the Null Talisman. The bottle's still in the courier. The boots are... did he just purchase them? No, he doesn't have gold for them yet. But yeah, this mid lane is a disaster already for NVMI.
Yeah, it's going to be harder and harder as time goes by. They're even going to look for another one. Artstyle is going to close in here with his 2-spell combo. If Scandal's off the tower and gets hit by a concussive. So that's what they're looking for once again, but we'll see if they have the burst combo. The Ancient Steel is massive magical amplification even at level 1, and then of course the Double Edge is a huge burst. But Lil will scout him out. They see Artstyle and they know exactly what's up.
In fact, they might want to make a go on Artstyle, but he's pretty tanky here. I don't think they're getting him. There's a stomp and that'll be it. So wasted time from Artstyle, and you know, I do want to talk a little bit about Artstyle, Blaze, because ever since TI1, he tried to make a few comebacks. He's been quiet for over a year, and his comeback attempts were ill-fated to say the least. But I'm really looking forward to seeing, like, can he actually bring a team back to a tier 1 status, or is he always just going to be kind of languishing on his former glory and, you know, not quite the top tier player / captain that he once was?
Yeah, it's really just remains to be seen. Like you said, he's been doing a lot of stand-in play over the years, but he hasn't really done anything as concrete as this. So committing to it, he must be confident about it to some degree, and we'll see just how well that pans out. The opener for Hellraisers hasn't been great, but there's still a lot of potential. As you can't really judge a book by its cover. You can't really just look at the first couple of weeks a team is really coming together and expect to really show their true colors.
Yeah, and it looks like NVMI will continue to rotate their lanes. They've now settled on a dual lane top, and right as I say that, the Undying begins to make his move towards the room. But it's a DD that spawns bottom. Lil does get caught by a stomp. It's only a level 1 Bane, but might be able to right-click him down. Move speed is 15 greater, but it's going to take 2 more, maybe 3 more right-clicks. Let's see. 1, and it's real close. With the base regen hell in the south, he will end up living. Now mid lane, they have gone and they kill off the Warlock while that was happening. And another death for Scandal. And he's really not even playing that cocky. He's dying like behind his tower. He's got no ward to protect him from rotations from the top side of the map. And frankly, he's just getting bullied upon, and they're not doing much to protect him.
I think it's an issue with the supportive response. The Bane has been only level 1 for a very long period of time, and the Undying has only gone to the mid lane once. Generally speaking, the rule of thumb is you don't dive against an Undying, because he TPs and he drops down the Tombstone, and there's no way that you disengage. But we haven't really seen it here. Godblack is mostly focused on the side lanes, and as a result, the Warlock has just been set back further and further. And each time he falls, especially when he's not skilling stats to increase his raw HP, it's just that much easier to bring him down before the heal takes effect. So he's playing very passive, and he has to, because the only thing he's really doing right now is creating space for Drow.
Yeah, and speaking of that Drow, she is getting a lot of space. 34-24, complete free farm bottom. Is maxing Frost Arrows and going for the best solo kill potential. Also really controls the Centaur nicely in this lane, and if he's not careful, she can just run him down under tower. He'll never get in range for a hoof stomp, and he won't be able to get away. The only solution is to TP out in that case, but you got to be quick to react, because she just absolutely craps out damage once she hits level 6, which she has. This is their big silver lining. And the other thing is, even if you shut a Warlock down, he still has his ultimate, and he still has Fatal Bonds. He offers a lot simply by dropping those 2 spells. So even though he hasn't had the best start, I feel like shutting him down the lane is not like a guaranteed win for HR by any means.
Yep, we're going to see the rune covered up by Dread here. He has the Invis available, but they do have ward vision in both sides. The Courier is actually going to be taken down. Yeah, it's a weird spot. No, it's Creeps. It's a neutral death.
Sandstorm.
Oh, boy.
I don't know why. It's like if they're aggroed but they don't have anything to target, they'll just hit the Courier, I guess.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Sand King's one of the few heroes that actually even is involved in that mechanical interaction, because most heroes you're going to have something to target, something to chase, but in that case, that was the only thing they saw, and that's the one they'll grab up. So it wasn't really anything on it that was of huge importance, just some wards that they'll get out a little bit later, but I don't know. It was just making a kind of clumsy error, and in that case, NVMI pull it
Now, if the Courier dies and the creeps kill it, the neutrals, does the Radiant get the gold?
As far as I understand it, yes, but I haven't tested it out very thoroughly, so I might be wrong in that.
If they don't get the gold, then it's like, crap, that's annoying. I don't think it actually had a... Oh, it did add TP and wards, so... Had their wards, which is the big loss, I suppose, but, you know, outside of anything on the Courier, it's like, it's not a big deal. But if they're getting the gold for that, then that's a huge disaster. Either way, sloppy play, and, well, HR... I guess the good news is, Aloha Dance is farming well. Dubas does have his Arcane Boots up, and... Artstyle is catching up. They're now devoting more resources to protecting him on this bottom lane. And Yoki's on the move. He'll head in. He's got his ultimate ready. Already level 8. This is a very fat Skywrath mage, but searching for an opportunity to kill. And he's going the Null Tally build. Double Null Talisman. Tread's now coming. Like you mentioned, Skywrath mage extremely mana dependent and just wants to snowball after this powerful start.
Yeah, looking in the jungle, the Drow was here very recently and would have been a beautiful kill pick-off, but it's not going to happen here. He's just going to be heading back to the fountain and looking to TP and turn things around. Again, the Max Frost Arrows is one of the best slows in the game. If you could actually use that in conjunction with a single point in Upheaval, there would actually be a lot of slow on top of that Tombstone, and I would love to see that. But for now, Scandal's a little underleveled for that, didn't opt for an early point, and it's just going to be the Drow alone that will try to set that up.
Yeah, who was the other player that was using Warlock recently? Was it someone from Cloud9?
I'm trying to recall.
I feel like another team was using it, and they were leveling up Upheaval first.
Howie 2000 talks about it a lot, so it might have been...
maybe not. I think it was he wasn't maxing Shadow Word. Is that right? Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways to build the hero, but there's a Slasher who likes to skip Fatal Bonds. There's some that don't like to go for the full heal. We do see this initiation mid, though, with the ultimate. That's a kill and a push.
That's a big investment. They need this kill, and it looks like they will find it in the end. The Tombstone drop, but it's actually in a decent position. They've got a catapult, and they're pushing into the tower. Top lane, there's a bit of a trade attempted by Aloha Dance, as the Void goes for some split push of his own. He does have a TP ready, and maybe can come in right as the rock falls. It's tanking tower shots now. It'll be juggled the aggro off of the rock, and it looks like they'll get their first tower of the game. And this is what I was saying. You can shut down a Warlock early, but that does not mean he won't have an impact later. While bottom lane Lil sleeps, Artstyle tries to make his way out. The mid tower will fall, and rotations immediately come in. Lil needs help. No, he doesn't. Just kidding. He'll TP out. Illidan on the chase. Maybe going for that Mask of Madness. He's got no points in silence, though. Dubas could have hidden Sandstorm for a little while. There was no detection inbound, but will end up making his way out regardless.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't go for the blind stun there. You have to assume that Bane's doing either just sitting there or he is going to be TPing away, and they probably should have just gone for the best linear avenue for hitting as many potential fog targets. Didn't take the risk, didn't waste the mana, and in the end does not receive the kill. So it's going to be a gradual farm up for him for the Blink Dagger. May even go to the avenue of a Magic Wand just to deal with the early team fight, but either way, he definitely needs to make his way back to the jungle and try to pick up farm there. Because for now, it's passivity for NVMI. They're taking one tower at a time with each golem they use.
And the thing is, HR really want to fight right now. Hellraisers know the rock's down. This is when you want to engage against the Warlock, but they're not getting an opening. NVMI are smartly playing back, playing defensively. The Voids rotate off the top lane. He was very close to Mask of Madness. It's a bit delayed by this rotation, but he will get it soon regardless, and overall, they're nice, deftly dodging a fight that would be very inadvisable. And by the time they do engage, I think they might have the Warlock ult back. Although right as I say that, Godlike is in danger. Could get caught out here. Concussive shot comes in, the nukes can begin, and he will be silenced. Not going to throw the ultimate. No, there he will. Godlike forced to run back in, and that means into Arcane Bolt territory, where DK Phobos might be the second target. One nuke, a few more auto attacks could be enough. Can't quite get the kill. Then the Sand King arrives with a haste. He will end up turning this one around. Or sorry, no, not a haste. Just walked his way in there. And the Centaur ultimate gets him in quickly, and then I'll TP out. So, yeah, it was moving with haste, but not with haste.
Yeah, sure enough. And it's actually really difficult to fight against the Stampede. I think that's one really smart thing about Hellraiser's draft is upheaval doesn't really mean much against it. It's probably why Scandal skipped it entirely. The Frost Arrows, it's good, especially when the Centaur was pre-level 6. But now it's only going to be good enough if they have the silence to follow through on top of it. They're going to go in here. They have the Fiend's Grip, going to look for just a single kill, but falling back already. It looks like it's going to be a tier 1 push.
And now we're going to see what is HR's response to the 5-man. They don't have a Blink Dagger yet on Sand King, 1,200 gold. It'll be at least 1 or 2 towers down by that point if they continue pushing before he's got it. Can they fight against the Rock? They are waiting on Void's ult for another minute, so I imagine we'll see a split push, and that is the trade. Aloha Dance going for the tier 1 top, he'll claim it. I think that should be their game plan, although he does miss the last hit on the towers. Just wait until you've Chrono up and then the Blink Dagger on Sand King, then you can look to take these fights, but in the meantime, there's a Wrecking Ball coming through this bottom lane. It's the 5-man squad of NVMI.
Yeah, it looks like they want to contest, though. Dubas didn't go for any stacking or jungle play. He went right back to the base, healed up, and is looking to contest down on bottom, but it's dropping so quickly. With this Drought Aura, they all have massive right-click, and she'll get the last hit. This is a complete waste of time, where the Sand King doesn't farm its Blink, the Void is rotating around, and in general, they just don't have the opening they want, even with a Great Weave.
Yeah, do they continue this push is the question. Dubas in a slight bit of trouble. Dust is deployed, but he's not invis anymore, not slowed by that, and just out of range. Would have been a bad time to die too when he's like in the neighborhood of farming a Blink Dagger in the next 3 to 4 minutes, but a death there could set him back a bit farther, so he'll dodge it. They do lose the 2 towers, and I'm not sure. The only way I see them getting a good fight off is if they really catch NVMI out of position, which means probably a smoke gank. Outside of that, until your Sand King is a Blink, they have the team fight potential, but actually, as we talked about in the draft, landing that combo on 4 ranged heroes is pretty difficult.
Yeah, in this position, Sand King's I kind of feel like he's practically dying every minute or two when he's not farming the jungle. This has been a completely open up jungle, but he's just been moving, looking for opportunities. If they go in with a great Stampede, there's possibility, but they've waited so long that even the offlane Wind Ranger, who didn't have the best of time, is now up to a full mechanism. So we'll see if the flank to gank works out, but for right now, they're just going to try to claim an enemy stack here. Taking it up, Aloha will be grabbing the last hits here, and this is going to be gold off the table for MVMI.
Yeah, but like you said, they've got a mech. The 5-man is expanding in strength and its ferocity for NVMI. And they might make a move here towards Dubas. Now, they're not going to spot him out. They actually do see Aloha Dance, but he is really retreating rapidly, and it seems that NVMI won't find the opening, or maybe they will find Dubas. He walks right into their team. There's a point in silence now. He burrow strikes. Now he's trapped by the Goms. The power shot reveals him. And he almost makes his way out. That was actually a long time before they nuked him, but they will finally lock him down, clean him up, and it's been a lot of movement, Blaze, but it hasn't been too much success for our Sand King. Got the courier killed earlier and still delayed in his efforts to find a Blink. It seems he's going to have to step it up if Hellraisers want to come back into this game.
Definitely agree with that sentiment. The Epicenter is so powerful with Chronosphere, jumping in and doing all that AoE magic damage, but it's very frustrating to see him just continuously move about, kind of farm, kind of snatch, but not actually progress in his items. I mean, even the Centaur, who was level 2 for the longest of time, is about to outpace him in a Blink Dagger. And while they're on the same team, that's all good news. In general, you just expected a little bit more from them. Now, they will maybe try to hold the tier 2 in mid. That's the next thing on the table for MVMI, and they certainly have the heroes to do it with the current progression of items.
And Hellraisers still waiting for the Sand King Blink. I guess I want to turn my attention to NVMI. Like, they've had a nice start. They've used their 5-man to take 3 towers. What's their next objective? You look at this HR lineup, and they're pretty scary late, I would say, but not overwhelmingly so. Even if the Void gets fat, there's still answers for him with the Bane grip, as well as the Warlock's ultimate and Fatal Bond. So, what do you think, Blaze? Should they feel like they're under the gun? Should they be forcing the issue? Or should they just be content to farm and take it into the mid game and more into the late game?
It'll be pretty much a light switch as far as when they feel like they are under pressure. In terms of a very late game, yes, Undying falls off. There's just not enough from the Drow Ranger as well. But for right now, for the next 5 minutes, they're pretty open. Dazzle's going to try to deny himself to Roshan. Don't think it's going to happen. No, TP, but it's going to be canceled.
Is there any way to cancel this TP? Dred might make his... Oh, he was close, but didn't make his way out in the end. The Bane was in an awkward position, like... He was, like, just out of range, and he started to run away this direction, so then he's like, oh, crap, he's trying to TP out. I got to get back in there to disable him, but they do end up getting the kill anyway. But the problem is not really that they get the kill, but that they get it in this position, right near the tier 2 mid with the wave pushing in, and this is a very crucial tower for NVMI to take away. With it down, Rosh will be a possibility for them, and with Drow Aro, Rosh is pretty quick.
Dubas just got blinked though. The
Chrono. Gonna jump in. Chrono connects on 2. Tombstone deployed defensively, but there's no way to keep DK Phobos safe. And then Lil walks into the Chronosphere right as it's about to end. This followed up by a Sand King Epicenter. Nicely done. Not enough to kill off Lil, but Goblek's on the way out, and it looks like NVMI are getting routed. Goblek will fall. No way for him to TP out. The question is, does Lil make it out? He's barely able to survive, living on just a sliver of HP. No self-deny attempted. He TP'd to the tower mid. He didn't go back to the well, and he ends up going down anyway. They lose 4. Maybe quick casted his TP by mistake instead of, or had it in a quick cast slot. I'm not sure, but
that would definitely be it. And you make that mistake with an early transition, and that kind of sucks. But I don't know. I think it was the big deal that they focused on the Wind Ranger. She was very far forward. She died in the Chronosphere to the Mystic Flare, and she didn't get the mechanism off. A mechanism in that fight turns everything around. They get the Warlock momentum. They get a lot of kills. But instead, they're trying to hold their mid lane, and they're going to go on Yoku.
Yeah, there's no Chronosphere right now. There's no Stampede. This is a decent time to fight, although there's also no Warlock ultimate. And Illidan's trying to force the issue. Grave is available. Not able to use a silence to prevent that from going off. It was cooling down from the earlier usage. And Dred, well, he'll just sacrifice himself, running into the fray. And looks like they'll back off after that. Not going to attempt a Rosh. Maybe NVMI will, but they are doing this without the Rock. And the one thing about Warlock's ultimate is it has a very long cooldown. 165 seconds at all levels. Whereas Chrono, up in 30, Epicenter, up in a minute. This is a little bit risky. I feel like they'll get it just in time, but
yeah,
let's see.
That's my general sentiment. They got the Agi treads up on Drow, so everybody has some bonus damage, and the Godblack's kind of here to make sure it's going to be fine. The Tombstone comes out. They really do need this kill. They don't want to hand this over to somebody like the Faceless Void or even the Core Skywrath, so they do take it off the table here just a little bit too late, even with the Stampede.
Yeah, Void's coming now, but Rosh, low, not dead yet. Illidan will claim the Aegis. And immediately smoked, but that one at least dispelled on some heroes by Dubas. It looks like it's still going on Illidan as well as Godblack, but there's really no surprises as to where NVMI are. They're right near the pit, so HR, are they really trying to engage into this? They are! That's a Chrono on 3! Nicely done by Aloha Dance, but they need some follow-up for this one. The Drow is going to force all of them back with a beautiful silence. Dubas disjoining that last auto attack with the Sandstorm, while Aloha Dance is now finding himself surrounded by the entire enemy squad. No backup in sight. Great play from Illidan with that silence, completely turning the engagement and preventing HR from following up what looked to be a great Chrono.
And also Lil made a huge play there. He was out of range of actually getting the Nightmare on the Faceless Void, so he just casts it on Wind Ranger, who he's targeting. The Void continues right-clicking away. He gets hit by the Nightmare immediately after the fact, and DK Phobos survives throughout it with pretty much full HP. They turn it right back around, and now without a Chronosphere, this high ground's essentially broken. It's got to be the Epicenter, and it's got to be now. He's smoked up. Dubas looking for the big plays, but my goodness, that was a huge fight for MVMI, and Rock just came back up.
And they're in position as well. This, you can't really go on the Drow. She's got the Aegis to worry about, and in fact, she's going to try to force the issue. Dubas goes in, only connects on Scandal. Not the best epicenter, and now they turn it. They lost Dazzle while this was going on, and NVMI continue to press forward, looking for Aloha Dance. He's a bit too tanky to bring down just by the Drow, but they've got the Tombstone in position. Dubas still hiding in Sandstorm, but only for now. Now they're going to have detection. They brain sap him. They will lose DK Phobos, though, to a nice Mystic Flare. Now the question is, can they get Dubas as a trade? Illidan dropping low, still has Aegis. Not enough to go, and they're still sitting on the double rock. I expect we'll see it soon from Scandal, though. Definitely wants to get that off before the fight begins. Artstyle potentially going for a jump, but the Burrow Strike comes in. Scandal, you got a rock defensively slept to try. Now they juggle it off of him. Well, is he going to be able to get it up? No, the Chrono! Scandal! No rocks for you, sir, says Aloha Dance. Oh, they had double rock. They don't get it, and now it crumbles in a hurry for NVMI. They'll lose the Aegis. They'll probably lose the Drow again. Yeah, Illidan not even going to get a return kill for this one. That's essentially 4 dead if you count the Aegis, and I feel like he could have just dropped the double rock on the tower, didn't even need to hit a hero, and they would have at least taken Rex, but Blaze instead, it's a disaster for NVMI.
Nah, he was just trying to be patient about it. He wanted it to be like the perfect usage of the ultimate, and it just didn't come through. He got too many disables. He got confident in how long he could survive and how much he could play keep away against the Faceless Void, but Kurno is a pretty short cooldown once you get to level 11 at 100 seconds, and it's just up in time for them to send Scandal packing. So brutal loss not getting that through. Another thing that might have been going through his mind is the fact that he is at level 10 and a third. So if he could get to level 11, that usage.
I mean, they were sieging high ground though. Like,
yeah, no, I definitely agree with
11
you.
at that
I'm
point.
just saying, I'm just trying to get inside this guy's head and think, what the hell were you thinking? Because it definitely should have been dropped.
I think, like you said, he just wanted a really good rock. When, I mean, if they didn't get Rex, they at least would have prevented HR from killing them with the double rock. But either way, it's a pretty bad engage. Still, they did take down the tier 3 mid, and one more good push could possibly end the game. The other thing is, did they have to push mid? Their tier 1 was still up top, and the tier 2. Those were some easier, lower hanging fruit as far as towers go. They maybe could have focused. File does get caught out of position, and he's gripped, but that's quickly canceled. And now Dread trying to run through the middle of the fight. There's your rock, hits on 3, and over the top will come the epicenter. They're fighting into the golems. They kill them both off. They're all alive through it. At least the heroes that jumped in. Finally, the Centaur will fall. Illidan tries to stand his ground. He's getting bashed, but pushed back by the Drow Ranger. Now silenced. Maybe this BKB will turn it. Looks like it's just enough. They actually end up cleaning up another 2, get 4 in total. And DK Phobos lives to tell the tale and didn't even have to use any buybacks there. So they want to fight without the Aegis because they got the Warlock ult off this time.
Yeah, it definitely was a much better ultimate than he could have found at any point in time in the previous mid-fight. As far as timing, I still think that it might have been better used elsewhere, but here it is to save the day, to bring him right back into it, and now they're only going to be repelled by the Weave of the Dazzle. It's going to be some mad right clicks if they try to stay too long, so they just go ahead, go down, back down bottom, farm up Drow Ranger, look for level 16.
I feel like it's still a bit of a concern how quickly the golems died in that fight, though. They just melted, dude. Like,
oh yeah, the epicenter just burned through them right at that point in time. So
how much more health do they? Okay, they get 300 more health and some more armor.
I think they lose health actually. I think it's like it's kind of distributed amongst the 2.
Oh, right. When you have 2, they have less HP, I believe. Yeah, that sounds correct. But I mean, he at least gets a little more health to split between them with the level 2 ultimate. But Void is going Battle Fury. Once he gets that, a good chrono, he might just be able to kill him.
Yeah, interesting decision to go for the Battle Fury at this stage in the game, but I guess it'll work out. The BKB doesn't nullify things like the Warlock Stun, the Fiend's Grip, and that kind of thing, so maybe he just wants to really take this to the late game. It's going to be a hard one because they've already lost their tier 3, but I guess it would come down to that next Rosh respawn. We got that in 2.5 to maybe 5 minutes, somewhere in that range, and that's really going to be when everything comes down to.
Do you think NVMI should just 5-man down mid now? Is there any reason to wait?
I mean, the Chronosphere and Epicenter is a huge combo that I wouldn't personally want to take the risk against, but they do have a little bit of pressure behind them to just having to go in deep. And
I mean, aside from the Warlock ultimate, like once that's back up, is there any reason to wait, or should they just be forcing the issue now before the Void gets like a BKB and that next big item afterwards?
They have to force the issue within the next 4 minutes, but I don't know if now's the time. I think that they should just wait out for Roshan. They've got a great observer ward in place for Dire approaching from the northern end, and they also have some coverage down on the bottom runes. So I think that this is the time to just wait out the Rosh respawn, 2 to 5 minutes, and then you can be very confident going up towards high ground.
Well, while they're waiting, Hellraisers are finding their openings elsewhere on the map, looking to take this tier 1 down bottom. Glyph was forced out, though, and reinforcements are streaming in. Lil's headed here with his ultimate. 4 more heroes trickling towards the bottom lane, but it's going to be a while before they arrive. And the tower will fall. It actually is just freely given to the Dire. Could have been denied maybe if Lil had headed that way, but he wants kills. He wants blood, and he might find it now. Looking for Skywrath, spots out the Void. He knows exactly what's waiting for them. And NVMI say, we need the Warlock here if we want to go for this. We actually can't jump this. The Invis rune's wearing off soon. But HR is still waiting. They've only got 3. And NVMI bring the whole squad in. Tombstone drop. Surprise! It's me. It's Godblack. And I'm ready to party. But, well, they lose Lil to start things off. The rocks dropped right as the Chronosphere is delivered on a DK Phobos. So he's able to live through this one. And now Aloha Dance, time walking into the trees, will make his way out. Not able to finish the job. So, in the end, they force out the Warlock ult. The Chrono is traded. They get a kill. And they get out while pushing top.
Yeah,
really nice.
That was only a 3-man play, but the disengage there was really strong, especially the reaction from the Skywrath. Now Dubas looks to be going down. He will try to go for the Sandstorm, and there is no answer.
And another tower not denied, just killed off by a creep wave. These MVP creeps are single-handedly winning the game.
Yeah, that's 2 Cardis just making the plays happen, and yeah, now look at Scandal. Like, he's farming up Ancients with his golems because he's got nothing better to do about it. It's just very unfortunate that, I mean, he was great with the heal to keep Wind Ranger alive, and they made sure they minimized their losses, but they didn't really secure any kills. So with Skywrath getting that silence off of the Bane, that was probably the hugest thing, because what it was essentially he's like, okay, well, I Nightmare one, I Fiend Script the other, and it should have been a 2-man pickoff with the spells they committed, but instead they turn it back around, they lose nothing, they kill the Bane, and as you mentioned, 2 towers fall with no contest.
And I feel like in a lot of ways, to me, Warlock is very similar to Shadow Shaman, where when you use the ultimate, you want to take an objective. Rosh, a tower. Not just use it in a fight, unless you're going to get, like, 3-4 kills or kill a really important hero, especially at this stage of the game. And we haven't seen them drop the rocks on a tower recently. The last time they did, they ended up doing quite a bit of structural damage. They took the tier 1 top. They had a nice fight, but we haven't seen it over the past 5-8 minutes, and it's buying time for this Void to continue farming. BKB or Aghanims, not too far off for Aloha Dance. Assange picked up for art style, clawing his way back into this one. The Scarlet Mage has been relatively quiet, but does now have a Ghost Scepter and a Force Staff, and can look for a kill mid, which he'll find on Godblack. Really good combination, and an easy pickoff. Lil is hunting top. He has dusted Dubas, but Dubas just calmly walks away, and what a time to find a pickoff, Blaze. Rosh is about to respawn in 10 seconds.
Yeah, and Dubas actually lived because of that Stampede. They were smoke ganking him and trying to bring him down. The dust pops right when the Stampede hits him, and Dubas just gets out of there scot-free. So, close calls, but the pickoff on the Undying and the control over the map that HR are now able to exert is absolutely huge. 20 seconds on Warlock's ultimate, then everybody will be pretty much at full strength, but interesting pickup here, the Sanj and Yasha.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, what do you make of it, man? It's
I actually
it's a
like
little
people
late,
will flame it.
to get a Sanj and Yasha.
People will flame it, but I love it so much more than Manta style. Dry illusions are completely worthless. They don't get benefit from marksmanship, so they're like, you would honestly get more damage out of Nature's Prophet illusions than you would Drows. So I actually prefer the SNY. We'll see the Fiend's Grip on Dubas. He's going down for sure, and we already see some very quick right clicks going away, but Drow not fast enough.
As the SNY, it is tanky Illidan. He's sitting on 16 armor, but not tanky enough, even with the Sanj and Yasha. Still will fall. Lil will drop as well, and it's in the end a 2-for-1. It does force out a Sand King buyback, but well worth it. While mid, Dread and Yoki want to go deep for something. Well, they'll find DK Phobos, who jumps right into the middle of both of them. Not sure if he had vision of the rotation and just gets incinerated. They did have an Observer Ward here. I didn't get to see if they smoked into that position or if they had just walked in, but either way, he goes down too. That's 3 dead, just for a Sand King buyback, and now they'll find Godblack as well. Make it 4. A clean sweep, basically, for HR.
Yeah, this is just kind of panicked Dota from NVMI. They keep on getting jumped on. The great aggressive Observer Wards being placed on Plateau and now behind the Tier 2 tower in the mid. They just know where the enemy is. They're able to take them down. And even the Wind Ranger, like pure panic there with the Force Staff forward and not saving it for when she actually gets hit by the Skywrath ulti. And they're losing towers left and right. This Void's getting huge. And what looked to be a pretty secure win for MVMI is now in absolute jeopardy as I can't even see them breaching to take the racks.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Undying falls off hard as games go on. Especially, he's gone for Blade Mail once this Void gets a BKB. He's going to be useless. Well, actually, the Void has the BKB now. He'll be useless against the Void. The Drow Ranger, as much damage as she offers the team, doesn't really scale that well into late game, especially not when they have such reliable crowd control and ways to jump on her. And they don't have a way to protect the Drow when she gets caught, aside from like a few heals, the defensive sleep. There's no Shadow Demon here. There's no Venge to swap her out of a Chrono, and they just don't have a really hard hitter later on in the game. And not to mention the items aren't really late game items for anyone on NVMI. But they're going to try and force a fight. Unfortunately, it's right after the Rosh dies that they make their way towards the pit. And just a series of unfortunate events and outplays from HR have put them holding serve. They haven't won the game yet by any means. And you always have to worry with that mid lane exposed that one bad fight could cost you racks if you're HR. But they've battled back, and if this goes on another 15, 20 minutes, you have to feel very good about their chances.
Yeah, and look at Dire's vision right now. They actually still have a couple of Observer Wards banked up because of the fact that the Courier died with them, so you kind of get that delayed restock of them. But right now they have 4 amazing wards out in an extremely aggressive position. They know exactly what MVMI are up to. They're not going to fall for it, and from there, once MVMI do what they have to, which is just fall back and farm, then they're going to have full vision to get more pickoffs and just do what they did again. Rinse, repeat, farm for late game, and find an opportunity to just take this one away.
It's going to be tough. And the other thing is, their draft is kind of 5-man centric, where they really are at their strength around like that. When we saw them try to push the 15, 20-minute mark, they were taking towers. But the downside is, if you go later in the game, you are 5-man into a massive AoE combo. That's what they want you to do on HR side, and it's easier to spread out with the ranged heroes, sure, but when you're trying to breach high ground, you kind of have to just get in there to hit the building, and that's when the Chrono comes, the Epi's there, and Hellraisers just bring the pain. So I think it's getting to that point where they just got to go for something. But it's actually HR who are going for something. They're pushing in the mid lane. They're still a tier 2 protecting top, so it'll be a tier 2, maybe just traded for a tier 3 glyph used by the Dire side, the Radiant side using theirs as well. And this tower looks to be going down, even with the rotations back. Scandal doesn't even peek out yet. It is nighttime. They didn't even see him TP in, but they know that if they stay a little bit, if they get any closer to the Void, he will jump with the Chrono and probably get a free kill. They do defend, but cost both teams their glyph, and that's tier 3 damage for tier 2 damage. Not the best trade.
Not at all. And Face of the Void has the Aegis, the 10-second BKB, so you can do that very confidently. Even if he gets gripped, you still can come back with everything available for round number 2. So they're going to take bottom lane, no problem. It looks like Dubas did TP away, though. So for 50 seconds, he's out of the picture, though he does have BOTs.
Well, for now, HR take over the enemy jungle. The Aegis still sitting on quite a bit of time remaining before it expires, so we'll see. The Hellraisers just want to take it later and later. They have room to scale on a lot of these heroes. The Void for sure. Sand King can grow quite a bit. Even a hero like Skywrath Mage remains relevant when the enemy team doesn't have mass BKBs, and they only have 1 on the Drow, so.
Oh, Drow's so dead. The Chrono is perfect counter to everything Illidan just purchased, and he's going down quick.
Oh, too late. No chance in hell. And now Scandal's going to be in trouble. Artstyle jumps in past the lines of attack. He does get gripped, though, and the Golems begin banging away on him, trying to bring him down. Die Centaur, they say, and they will get the kill. Aloha Dance, meanwhile, is forced off the fight. Time walk back towards safety. They force Def out Yoki as well, but DK Phobos is on the chase, finds a nice shackle. The follow-up could be here. Bring in those pulverizing fists, says Scandal. Well, it might be too late. Aloha Dance has BKB, and he's got Aegis. He doesn't have a TP, though, so he may be oh, he actually time walks deeper into the tree line, but that leaves Dread on his lonesome. Shackled to a tree. Now they can look for Yoki. Dread should be finished at this point, and they will try to find him. They have that additional sleep. There's a grave by Dread, and he will TP out back to the well. He's going to end up living. Do they at least get Yoki? They're trying to finish him off. They don't have a grip. They're trying. They're trying, but they just can't do it. And in the end, everybody lives except for the Centaur. They don't take any objectives. The Golems are going to die. And even the friggin' Aegis is still on this Void. They just can't catch a break, NVMI. Uh-oh, Dubas, is he going? He's got Epi. He wants to jump straight onto 2, over the top, then the Void to connect as well. Time walking forward while Phobos tries to run his way out of here with a Windrunner. Jesus, losing my English. Phobos will die at the end. Hit Windrunner way out to safety. And they will lose the Undying.
He's got Chrono too.
And now
going
Illidan,
again.
they're looking for more. This game turns further and further against them. NVMI can't catch a break. Even if they get this single kill, there's still an Aegis to deal with. And Aloha Dance is going to dive deeper. He switches his treads, then jumps in really far. The Bane can't do anything to help Illidan. Of course the Bash. Always the Bash when you're in this position. Forces out a Warlock buyback, but there's no ultimate for a minute. And they're just going to keep on pushing in. Suddenly, hey, we've got 5 heroes alive. We're in the enemy base. Let's just go win the game. And it looks like they'll do just that. They'll take their first lane of Rax. This is not going to be where the train ends. It's only the beginning of the pain. 45 seconds, no Warlock Rock, and they can keep on pushing in. They'll push in the top with the Sand King, who's actually gone for Boots of Travel on top of his Arcane Boots. Still a few boots short of having all his feet covered, but what does it matter? Godblack tries to join the fight, but this is going to be a short-lived effort. Quickly dealt with by Aloha Dance. Not finished off yet. That'll go the way of Yoki, and we're looking at 2 lanes of Rax Blaze. Just don't see them holding. Still 20 seconds to go. And, well, while they're waiting for the Warlock ultimate, they're losing more heroes. The Wind Ranger falls. The base is in shambles. It's pretty much GG at this point. Void leaping forward. Chrono at 8 seconds. Doesn't have it yet. Just needs 1 bash to get this kill. Doesn't actually get an opportunity to auto-attack yet. Will auto-attack now. They're diving the well. Remember, he's still got the Aegis after all this. Russian Dota at its finest. Farming, trying to farm heroes in the enemy fountain. Aloha Dance will die once. He doesn't actually, well, he doesn't chrono the well, so he pays with his life. He traps Dread in the Radiant well, so Dread will die as well. An absolute gargantuan fail, but it doesn't matter. They still get the 1 lane of Rax. The top lane's exposed as well.
I don't know.
Oh my
At least it
goodness.
leaves them open for
What
an
a
all-in.
clowny 5 minutes that was.
I don't know. NVMI could still try to all-in it right now. They got the Warlock Golem. They just lost a lot of heroes to the fountain diving, and if there was any chance for a comeback, this is this, like, 30-second window they could just rush down the lane. It's hard against the creep wave, though, and yeah, it does feel like it's just pretty much over. A great extended engagement in favor of Hellraisers time and time again. Dubas starting out with the epicenter, and then it was just kind of cue yakety sack music from that point forward. They chased him all the way down, all the way to the fucking well, and that's where they just claim every single life of NVMI.
For those who don't know, you can chrono the well, and it does not attack if you chrono it, but he didn't get it in the chronosphere. Just trapped his teammate on the other side of it, just in range of the auto attacks, and oh man, that was that's highlight worthy for sure. But either way, HR, if they really want to play it safe, they can just wait for the next Aegis and then go, although hopefully they use it a little more effectively.
You say play it safe, as if they weren't just literally inside the fountain
Yeah,
30
if they play,
seconds ago.
who am I kidding? This ain't Chinese Dota, man. Oh boy, what a game. I love Starladder.
Too much fun. So, I mean, it's like, it's not even imbalanced teams. It just comes down to an imbalanced matchup when MVMI's strategy fell flat on its face. We can kind of go back and talk circles around the usage of the ultimate at a certain point in time when they were pushing in the high ground and whether or not that would have changed it. But whether or not it would have, I think it should have been used, because at this point, they've been losing the game ever since. The Void gets big, and if you look at Illidan's items, it does nothing against a Chronosphere. Can't evade it, you can't lifesteal during it, BKB, BK Shmee, I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Fight's gonna break out. That's a really nice double golem. They connects on everyone. The Void's not here for the fight. He's only now joining, and he chronos even better. It's a 5-man chrono. They're all trapped. They're melting like flies. They just can't stand against him. He's brought down too many. Triple. Give him an ultra. He wants the whole 5-man wipe. Can he get Phobos? It's a rampage. Aloha Dance absolutely annihilates MVMI. What a play. And now it's time to feed to the well. It's only a fitty way to end it. Here we go, straight in. He wants the double rampage. Will he get it in time? Storm Rage is tanky. Illidan alive for now. He can't. The GGs steal the double rampage away. Oy, oy, oy. What an end. What an end.
Hell of a game. The Hellraisers definitely living up to their name, their reputation here. That was absolutely insane.
What an amazing end.
Yeah, that is a way to end a game. A crazy draft coming out from Godblack, but more mad than scientist at this point, and it just doesn't pan out this time around. You could definitely see where he was trying to go with it, but it didn't have any late game potential, and post 25, they just kept falling back, and to the point where the mid Skywrath has an Ethereal Blade and is forcing BKBs left and right, and damn, that Void ends it up 12-4 and 10, almost 600 GPM.
Well, Blaze. Couldn't think of a better way to end our day number 6 of Starladder Europe. That one's going straight on YouTube, guys. We'll get some BTS moments out for you of the fountain feeds as well as the 5-man chrono, so you can watch it all again. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This concludes our coverage of Starladder Europe. We've got a ton of Dota coming up this weekend. For those who don't know, the WEC LAN finals are happening. I'll be casting. Winter will be joining me. Gods may remotely cast and actually get off his lazy butt in Australia. Tons of great Dota. We'll have 2 streams going for that. Starladder Europe continues this week. Starladder Southeast Asia, I believe, continues over the next few days. China starts at the beginning of next week. We got a lot of Dota, a heaping pile of it coming your way. Great teams, great games. For now, I'll just hand it over to you, Blaze. Thanks for casting, guys. You can follow him at Blaze Casting. Blaze, any closing words? Any shreds of sanity left rattling around your brain after that?
I don't know, man. At this point, it's really hard to tell if it is insane or if it is real. But yeah, NVMI, I see potential, but they have got to deviate from their strats. Like, this is the same 3 or 4 picks that we've seen half a dozen times, and he wants it to work. He obviously does, but yeah, they execute perfectly, and you get the cool meta-breaking experience, or you look like a joke. So. Scandal, I'm glad he's in it. I'm glad he's got a team. Hopefully he sticks with it, but no matter what, it's always fun casting some TIS Dota with you, man.
Well, thanks for joining me, guys. Again, he's at Blaze Casting. I'm at LD Dota. You've been watching Starladder, presented by Beyond the Summit. We will have the rebroadcast going shortly. VOD's up on our YouTube, youtube.com/BeyondTheSummitTV. Until next time, it's LD and Blaze signing off. See you later.